Hello, I've been digging through old magazines, newspapers and online reviews to find out what critics and viewers thought about sitcoms way back in the early days of TV and even up to now. In this video, I'm taking a look at some sitcoms you might have forgotten about that aired between 2003 and 2008. Let's see if we can work out why these shows became the forgotten relics of television sitcoms. A rare visit to Scotland now to look at BBC Scotland sitcom that is so forgotten that even the Internet Movie Database, a respected repository of television film knowledge, only has vague details of one of the 6 episodes broadcast and one relatively contemporaneous review. The Overnight Express was a long-haul passenger bus going between Buchanan Street bus station in Glasgow and King's Cross station in London. It was written by Sanjeev Kohli and Donald McCleary, neither of whom had much writing experience before this series and are better known for acting in minor roles. Overnight Express was certainly made on a small budget. The shots in the coach while it's supposed to be travelling along used very poor green screen exteriors. They even filmed a different angle of Buchanan Street station to substitute for King's Cross. I have seen some clips and assuming those were meant to be highlights, I cannot recommend it. The producer and director was Alan de Pellet, who was also relatively inexperienced. However, in more recent years he has directed 11 episodes of Emmerdale, 16 episodes of EastEnders, and, at the time of writing, 37 episodes of Hollyoaks. In his profile that was current in 2004, he stated that one of his shows was the critically acclaimed Overnight Express. He does not reveal any details of who said anything positive about the show. I certainly didn't find any. A reviewer on the IMDb website said it was possibly the worst sitcom ever made. He continued, "A sitcom that is wrong in every conceivable way is in fact incredibly difficult to achieve, but Overnight Express managed it with aplomb. With wobbly comedy accents and tail end of the alternative comedy boom, love of swearing and queasy sexuality." In his book, The Glasgow Smile and A to Z of the Funniest City on Earth, Alan Brown said, "Overnight Express was a fetid, rank appropriation of how working-class Glaswegians speak, behave and interact." The few online forum comments I found about Overnight Express are not repeatable here. There was only one series, 6 episodes, and it's not available on DVD. We stay in Glasgow for our next sitcom, Dear Green Place, originally made as a pilot in 2006 for BBC One Scotland. Probably on the basis that the pilot won the 2006 BAFTA Scotland Award for Best Entertainment Programme, a series was made that aired in 2007. The show was created by comedy actor Paul Riley and features Ford Kiernan, both of whom featured in the sketch show Chewing the Fat and its successful sitcom spin-off Still Game. Donald McCleary, co-writer on Overnight Express, wrote some of the sketches for Chewing the Fat, and Alan de Pellet claims in his old professional profile to have been involved in the award-winning Chewing the Fat, except he does not seem to be credited in the show. Louisa Pearson, writing in The Scotsman, said, "There were plenty of laughs, great comic timing from Kiernan and Paul Riley, the writer in particular, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets the go-ahead to be made into a series." However, The Scotsman criticised the characters' accents for being difficult to follow, but that, thankfully, there was enough slapstick to transcend the language difficulties. There was a second series in 2008, but it was announced in April 2009 that BBC Scotland would not be commissioning a third series due to poor viewing figures. They had, however, commissioned a new series of Rab C. Nesbitt and Ford Kiernan's new sitcom Happy Holidays. Keith Merchant is a recovering alcoholic in BBC Two's black comedy Never Better. It stars Stephen Mangan as Keith, who is just trying to do the right thing for his family, but ends up with more problems. He attends Alcoholics Anonymous meetings and turns them into a farce by revealing the embarrassing situations he gets into. The style of the show led to comparisons with Lead Balloon and Curbs Your Enthusiasm, with some critics saying the show is too similar to these programmes. A preview article in The Standard on the 2nd of January 2008 introduced Keith, a truly horrible recovering alcoholic in the jet black BBC comedy series Never Better. So the narrative is clearly set out. Then, quoting Mangan, saying, "I seem to be the go-to guy for monsters." Reviewing the first episode, Robert Hanks of The Independent was wary, saying, "Never Better doesn't seem sure what tone to adopt," describing the Mangan character as a slightly feeble middle-class male. But apparently Hanks did like the show, adding, "What we do get are a series of quite funny scenes at AA meetings." Viewers called the show comedy perfection and a very funny show, but can be painful. The series attracted an average audience of less than 1 million viewers per episode, which is poor even for BBC Two. However effusive their compliments, there were just not enough viewers for another series to be commissioned. It is not unusual for a new series not to be repeated, but in some ITV regions the network didn't even finish showing all 8 episodes of Teenage Kicks due to the terrible reviews and low audience figures, which is odd as it was written by and starred Adrian Edmondson. It was co-written by Nigel Smith, who was fairly new to writing for television. The television sitcom was based on their BBC Radio 2 show, broadcast in 2007 and repeated in late 2008. Edmondson played Vernon, a middle-aged man who moves in with his kids following a spectacularly nasty divorce. He sees this newfound freedom as an opportunity to get down with the kids and relive his rebellious youth. Naturally, his kids, Max and Millie, and their Chinese flatmate David, are mortified. All fairly standard sitcom fare. Presumably, they wanted viewers to think of Edmondson's character Vernon as the middle-aged incarnation of Edmondson's infamous 1980s punk character Vivian from The Young Ones. In common with The Young Ones and Bottom, most of the episodes had one-word titles like Work, Sorry and Health. It was universally slated by critics and audiences alike, some of whom were amazed it ever got made. Abby Grant in The Telegraph said, "Cue endless, embarrassing dad jokes, close-ups of trouser splitting, so old-fashioned it's as if The Young Ones had never happened." Sarah Dempster in The Guardian described the script as a graceless gumbo of mainstream sentimentality and bottom-esque cruelty. She said it was unbelievable that the Chinese flatmate is mocked for having a Chinese accent. The Mirror critic complained that we've seen plenty of children raise their eyebrows at their parents' behaviour before, referring to Safi in Absolutely Fabulous, endlessly rolling her eyes at Adina, played by Mrs. Edmondson, aka Jennifer Saunders. David Butcher in the Radio Times was not taking any prisoners, asking, "Why are half-decent domestic sitcoms so few and far between? There are some good moments, but some shocking ones too. Can it really still be funny in 2008 to have a joke at the expense of a Chinese accent?" The reviewer for the Custard TV website said, "After 5 minutes of this we were praying for a bout of lethal radiation sickness. The jokes were often so predictable that I was worried at one point I had either become psychic or helped writing the script." Moff Grimmers, writing for the TV Scoop website, said, "Teenage Kicks is possibly the worst programme I've seen. What we get is a programme that looks cheap and is cheap, with woeful acting, a complete absence of ideas, and worse still, jokes about a Chinese man." A DVD was immediately released, presumably just to recoup some of the loss the show is likely to have made for ITV. There was hardly a positive comment or review about the show. It's just as well no one remembers it. The only reason I've been able to find out some of these sitcoms even existed was down to extensive research of every conceivable list of comedy show and sitcom production. These are some of the shows that cropped up only once or twice and had little or no other information available. So what did you think of these shows? Did you remember them? Let me know in the comments and join me for the next video for more Forgotten Sitcoms.